If you are a financial advisor who works with doctor clients, you might have wondered, why do intelligent, focused physicians often struggle to translate their high incomes into true wealth? I can tell you this, it's not because they're lazy or undisciplined. How do I know? Well, I am a retired surgeon, and for the past 15 years, I've helped financial advisors accelerate their practice growth by attracting, engaging, and serving doctor clients. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of doctors about their money stories, and I share the trends that I have learned. In this video, I'll share two things. First, you'll take away a deeper understanding about the forces that drive doctors' financial behaviors. Second, you'll see exactly how I conduct this conversation with doctors. I've kept that section in black and white to reflect the peer-to-peer tone I use with physicians. After that, I'll return in color to offer you key takeaways and coaching for you as a financial advisor, so you can apply these insights in your own client conversations. So let's dig in to the exact message I offer doctors. You can be a world-class physician and still end up financially stuck. I've seen it happen far too often, and it usually comes down to these 5 quiet habits. We've spent our lives learning to heal others, but when it comes to our own financial health, we're often left to figure it out alone, and that can be costly. I recently spoke with an orthopedic surgeon in exactly this situation, making over $850,000 a year, but unsure if he could retire comfortably. And it's not rare. I've interviewed hundreds of doctors, and the gap between struggling and thriving almost always comes down to these 5 money habits. And here's the catch. Habits are not conscious. Think about driving to the hospital without a single conscious thought. Or like you or me in the shower, doing the exact same motions in the same order day after day. That's how these habits work. Silent, repeated, unquestioned. My mom is a powerful example of the power of habits. After a car accident in the 1960s, her doctors prescribed an acceptable treatment at the time, smoking, to help her lose weight and ease pressure on her back. She hated it. Her clothes smelled. It was expensive. She felt like a pariah when friends asked her to step outside to smoke. But it became part of her. She tried to quit again and again for years, and finally did. She told me it was one of the hardest things she ever did. Many of us have money habits we didn't consciously choose. We inherited them. If you grew up around scarcity, you might have learned to spend and spend quickly before the money disappears. If you were lucky enough to grow up with wealth, your habits may already serve you. Most of us have never examined those financial reflexes. And if we don't, we risk spending our careers healing others while our own finances fall apart. And no doctor wants to outlive their money or become dependent on their children. So let's talk about these 5 critical money habits. Wealth-eroding habit number 1, not knowing your numbers. A gynecologist told me, I just want to make enough money so I never have to think about it. I can spend whatever I want. That's sort of like saying, I want to manage my ICU patients without tracking their vital signs or eyes and nose. We would never do that. And yet many of us try to manage our financial lives with the same kind of guesswork. Wealthy people know their numbers. It's not obsessive. It's a habit of wealth. Warren Buffett famously adjusts his McDonald's breakfast order based on the stock market's performance. Sure, he could buy anything he wants, but awareness of money flow has contributed to his financial discipline. Here are a few numbers I recommend tracking regularly. First, your monthly spending. Yes, even if it's uncomfortable. I work with doctors who are often off on their guesstimate by an order of magnitude. They're spending 10 times as much as they think they are. Second, please measure your income and your effective hourly rate. That's a sobering exercise. Third, measure your net worth. That's what you own versus what you owe. You also want to follow the rate at which your net worth grows. The things you measure improve. That's why I've created a free TrueWealth Way workbook to help you follow your numbers. You'll find a link below. If we haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Vicki Rachner. I'm a retired surgeon with a new mission, helping doctors move away from burnout and move towards a life of true wealth. The freedom to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with whom you want to share. Over the past decade, I've written 3 books about doctors and money. These 5 habits come from hundreds of conversations I've had with physicians about their money stories, and they may sound familiar to you. Wealth-eroding habit number 2, failing to optimize your revenue potential. As a physician, your most valuable asset is your ability to earn. But many of us unintentionally leave money on the exam table. It could be by failing to negotiate contracts, not billing accurately, or not collecting what we're owed. But here's another important point. Your value transcends your ability to treat individual patients. In the conventional practice of medicine, you exchange your time for money. There's a ceiling on your earning potential. However, your skills and knowledge and credibility can be leveraged in entrepreneurial ways, consulting or conducting courses or speaking. And once you step into business ownership, you unlock powerful tax advantages. And let's not forget, taxes are your single biggest lifetime expense. Why is this important? Well, the greater your wealth, the greater your impact. One physician with whom I work has a passion for rescuing dogs. Her wealth gave her the ability to create a sanctuary where hard-to-place dogs can be loved and cared for the rest of their days. That's what true wealth makes possible. Wealth-eroding habit number 3, poor triage. Triage comes from the French word meaning to sort, and it's not just an ER protocol. We triage our time and our attention and our tasks. We also triage what we do with our money. So how do you allocate the dollars that flow into your life? One doctor told me, I'll pay off my medical school debt first, then I'll invest. Well, emotionally that might feel right, but mathematically it's not a great strategy for building wealth. So how do you distribute your earned dollars into the buckets of bucks? How much house can you afford to buy? When should you start investing? How do you handle financial windfalls like an inheritance? Do you take the family on vacation, or do you get caught up in retirement planning, or maybe a little of both? Further, you and your partner may have different priorities. Kevin O'Malley, Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank, reports that money conflicts lead to more divorces than infidelity. Wealth-eroding habit number 4, being on the wrong side of compound interest. Einstein called compounding the 8th wonder of the world, and he was right. Wealthy people get compounding to work for them. Consumer debt makes compounding work against you. Warren Buffett made his first million at age 30, but didn't hit billionaire status until 56. His wealth grew exponentially because he gave his money time to grow. Many doctors carry medical school debt. That's not inherently bad, but you need to manage it wisely. Incidentally, educational repayment programs are changing with the new legislation signed into law July 4th of 2025. Don't rely on AI or hearsay to figure out how you manage your medical school debt. Talk to a real expert to avoid costly mistakes. Wealth-eroding habit number 5, unconscious spending, saving, and investing. I once finished an appendectomy around 2 a.m. and sat down in the recovery room to write post-op orders. Well, right there was a gardening catalog. Well, I love gardening. In fact, my son calls nursery my crack stores. I pulled out my credit card and placed an order right there. For me, shopping had become a stress release valve. That quick dopamine hit from spending, it's real. And for many of us, spending becomes unconscious. Food goes to waste. Subscription charges pile up. We don't realize how much we're leaking until we look. This unconscious spending eats away at dollars you put to work making money. The couple $100 I spent at 3 a.m. on plants were really earmarked for investing. But once the dollars are spent, they're gone. True wealth comes from conscious spending and automated saving. Wealthy doctors set up systems to make it easier to save and invest consciously and harder to spend unconsciously. They opt out of mailing lists and remove credit cards from websites. They keep track of their return on spending, how much joy each expenditure brings, and how well it aligns with their goals and values. They automatically transfer money into investment accounts. You build your net worth most effectively when you make it easier to spend consciously and invest as a matter of habit. It's not about restriction, it's about intention. So, where do you stand? Of these 5 habits, which ones are helping you and which ones are quietly eroding your wealth? Well, thanks for stopping by. If you found this helpful, you'll love my next video where I show you how to get quick wins in transforming your finances and building a life of true wealth. Click here to watch it now. Now you've seen the 5 wealth-eroding habits presented in language doctors understand. Here's the next step. Use these examples to elevate your conversations with doctor prospects and clients. Your physician clients want to feel respected, not judged. They want to be guided, not sold to. And when you show up speaking their language with a real understanding of the hidden pressures they face, you become more than an advisor. You become indispensable. To help you take this further, I've created a free guide. It includes key phrases, suggested metaphors, and prompts you can use to start these conversations with confidence. Click in the link below to download it and continue becoming the go-to advisor for physicians. Are you interested in more information about how to succeed in the medical market? Click here to watch my masterclass about how and why to successfully work with doctor clients in 2025.